What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another edition of the Countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Ted Kal-El, aka Steady. Joining me on this Superman 2025 movie review is the one, the only, Super Dave.
That's Dave, aka Super Dave.
We just got out of the Superman advanced screening here in the capital of Texas, Austin, and I just lost Dave, but I'm going to give him a moment to get back before I go any further with this review. Let's try that again. It's a good thing I'm recording this. We just got out of the Superman advanced screening here in Austin, Texas. We also gave out dozens and dozens of tickets to a lot of our followers. If you are one of the lucky ones who were one of our winners and participated, glad you guys made it. Hope you had a great time. If you didn't get a chance to join us for this event screening, be sure to stay like and subscribed and turn on those notifications. You can find out when the next giveaway drops. But this is going to be our Superman non spoiler review. And we might get into a few spoilers towards the end of the show, but we will absolutely let you guys know before that happens. And so this is just going to be our general thoughts to start off with. So without further ado, let's get into high gear, get to Metropolis, and talk about Superman. The era has begun. We are in officially the cinematic uh, DC universe. Dave, you just got out of Superman. This is our non spoiler portion. Let's go ahead and dive into it. What are your sort of initial thoughts? And then we'll get into some back and forth and some details a little bit later on. But your initial thoughts, sir, what do you think?
I liked it. It made all the sense in the world to me that this was a James Gunn directed Superman DC universe to kick off everything. I thought the blend of all the characters was really well. I was really interested to see how he was going to juggle all of that, and I think he did a pretty good job. The acting performances were good. The score, though, by John Murphy wasn't didn't really stand out too much. Of course, I mean we all know the John Williams Superman theme from the '70s. They had a little bit of that in there. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler, but we heard kind of the Superman 2025 theme throughout all the marketing and the trailers and stuff. That was mainly prevalent. But yeah, you got Crypto. You had so many characters. Mister Terrific was, yeah, pun intended. He was pretty good. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner was really great. I figured he was really gonna hit the spot there with playing Guy Gardner's Green Lantern. But yeah, overall, I thought it was good. There's all kinds of reactions to this movie, and there's all kinds of reasons for it. I
Yeah.
think both you and me are big Zack Snyder DCEU fans, and to me, this doesn't sway my opinion whatsoever of what Zack did and what James Gunn is doing here. This is the more traditional Superman, kind of a throwback and kind of pulling it straight out of the comic book panels for this film, and I liked it. That's what I was expecting. That's what I got. I got a James Gunn Superman film.
I'm going to piggyback a lot off of that, and again, I'm gonna stay away from spoilers, so I'm gonna say a lot without spoiling anything. This movie started out for me really jarring. I think the trailers did a very good job of kind of telling us what the tone was going to be of this film. And before ever stepping into the theater, I thought to myself, time and time again, I'm expecting sort of like a cartoon or animated episode of Superman on the big screen. And literally, that's sort of what we got. And for a lot of people, that's going to be a really good thing. For a lot of other folks, I think that's going to be a bit of a challenge to sort of overcome. A superhero cartoon on, the big screen, big silver screen, maybe doesn't always translate well. We're so used to being in sort of the age of superhero movies where they're serious and there's massive stakes at hand and there's potential for loss of life and those things. Like we are 5 phases into the MCU. Like that's what every MCU is now. It's serious. It's, big stakes at hand and all that stuff. This is going to reel people way back. We're getting into a little bit more of a cartoon, a little bit more of a, I'll say cheesy, but that's not all bad, but sort of cheesy superhero film and style. It's James Gunn. So you're going to get all the things that James sells you on. He sells you on story, he sells you on heart. He sells you on witty humor, dialogue, but also like great action sequences and great special effects. The visual effects are all there. He doesn't miss on any of those at all, I would say. All the things that people complained about in the trailers, yeah, all of that, they took care of that. Lickety split, no issues
Yeah,
whatsoever.
it was more intense and more prolonged than I originally thought, which was kind of cool because that's usually what I want to see.
Mm, yeah, I agree. What let me get into some not more detailed stuff, but just a little bit deeper than a little below the surface here. Um I love the performances. Corn Sweat sold me most of the time. The things that I thought I would have issues with, him being sort of overly emotional in some of the trailers that were released and some of the clips that were released, I I was good with half of them. There's still those a couple of moments where he's just overly emotional where I'm having a harder time thinking this is Superman. Very, very few times did that happen. Very few times. The other times where he brings it in, he's sort of he's composed, he's delivering those big lines with the deeper voice tone. I'm like, that's Clark, that's Kal-El, that's the Man of Steel. All great stuff. I say the dynamic between him and Rachel's Lois is great. There are some flashes of Margot Kidder in Rachel's performance. I'm like, that's also great. That's kind of what you're aiming for. Margot is the bar. You're never going to pass that bar. Your goal is to get as close to that bar as possible. Just because you can never outdo Margot Kidder's Lois Lane. Like nobody's going to be able to do that ever in a million years. Never going to happen. You and I talked about Nicholas Holt. I think he does absolutely as much as possible with the script that he's given. I say this is probably one of his best performances, and that's saying a lot because he's really good in a lot of stuff. But he pretty much acted his ass off from start to finish in this one. He's asked to do a lot, nails it every single time. Crypto steals the show. I'm a dog lover. I'm pretty sure you're a dog lover, right?
I have
Yeah.
4 dogs.
And Crypto, he actually is a sort of like a male version of our current dog, who's aptly named Harley after Harley Quinzel. So just shows you how big of a DC fan I am. But loved Crypto and everything he was in, all the scenes. They really utilized him. Wasn't really sure how often we were going to get him. Dude is a main character in
Yeah,
this one.
yeah. The movie doesn't work without him, really.
It really does not. And I'm like, name another comic book movie where you just got a dog in it the whole time. I don't think it's been done to this level or even remotely close. So a lot of good stuff in here. The moments where they go for the big Superman is hope and he is, um, you know, love and he is a
Or
hero to
humanity.
everyone.
Yeah.
Those moments work. They really do. James Gunn can pull those off in his sleep. That's just how good of a storyteller he is. I will kind of say a couple of things that I thought were minor issues with for me. This movie does not give you a chance to breathe. We start off like going 60 miles an hour and we will accelerate at times. We will decelerate to like 45, but there's really no chance to sort of take a breather and really get us get, really get a sense of anything. Not anything.
I think there are breathers, but they're few and far between, and it takes a while for you to get the first one in.
Yeah, man. It the pace is quick. I think because this is a Superman movie, you kept reminding me this is the first one in 12 years, a
Mm-hmm.
solo Superman film. It's sort of a momentous occasion. I would
Yeah.
prefer to be treated a little bit more like that. Like this is a momentous occasion. We're here for this big iconic hero, but we never have those opportunities of really just soaking it all in. Stuff is happening, plot is happening. We open like it's a Star Wars film. We're already towards the end of the first battle. It's literally
Yeah.
a
Took a
George
page out of
Star
Lucas.
Wars film.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the pacing, not a deal breaker, but I would have liked to slow down at times, really soak in the moment, really treat it as this, big, epic, iconic superhero returning
Yeah.
from wherever you want to say he's from.
It's very
I
much a sequel to the population of Earth's zeitgeist thoughts of what Superman his like origin story was, because everyone kind of knows that came from Krypton, crash landed from Kansas, mom, pa, Kent. Everyone knows that, so they didn't have to cover that, which I love, and that's kind of what they did in Spider-Man: Homecoming. They didn't show the spider bite. They just we know that. Everyone knows that. You don't have to show it again, which was a great thing. You hit the ground running, but and again, like you say, you didn't get to catch your breath.
I don't think so. Yeah, I I really wanted to really settle in, a few times just to kind of really figure out. But so that's kind of the pacing is what helps when we're trying to deal with like stakes and we're trying to deal with the severity of some issues when we're trying to process a plot twist. There's a couple of them in here. I think they are very predictable, not in a bad way, but
Yeah,
like it's setting things up for you. And so if you predict it going this way, then you were paying attention. And if you didn't, then it's probably a bigger plot twist for you. But really taking our time with those things, that way, those moments kind of hit bigger for me. I would have preferred that. All in all, I did enjoy it. It's good. The more I think about it, the more that I appreciate about this movie. It's not going to be like in my top 5 or 10 of like comic book movies, maybe not even DC movies. I think it's just a solid. um, take on Superman by James Gunn. It's really his world that we're in. We're not in the DC universe. We're in James Gunn's head. This is what James Gunn head looks like with DC characters in it, and that's not a bad thing. He's got big ideas. Um, he can do a lot with it. He can take you on an adventure. That's not a bad thing at all. Yeah. What else are you
Yeah,
thinking about?
they did change canon in a couple of parts, which was kind of interesting. And there's a big piece of canon I think they really changed, which really was a huge part of the plot in this film, and I kind of liked it. Without going into spoilers, I thought it worked. I know it's in the marketing. This is really not a spoiler, but James Gunn basically said that, hey, look, my Superman that you're going to get is not this omnipotent, invincible being. He can be hurt. I mean, it's not easy, but I mean, yeah, you can kind of get to him. Um, Kryptonite is, of course, kryptonite to him, but there are ways for other beings to get to him. And yeah, and it's not a spoiler that we do see him um, kind of beaten up in the beginning of the movie, which is in the trailer.
No, you're right about that. And it's in the trailers we've seen him beat up, bloody, bruised, boned, broken. I mean, he can take a beating, and it's not something we're used to seeing from a Superman film. Is seeing sort of how vulnerable he is when it comes to just brute force. Usually takes a lot, and you'll kind of see that throughout this movie.
Yeah, and being who
Um,
I am, I see everything, I watch everything. There is a lot of Superman online via the marketing and the commercials and the trailers and the interviews and the special clips, the talk show clips. There's a lot that they've revealed and a lot on social media that they've revealed. So this is probably one of the movies that I can't think of the other movie that I've seen where I thought, man, I wish I went into this blind because I would have loved this movie that much more. Just to see how the Fortress of Solitude works. We saw that long, long time ago, I believe. Knowing who plays Superman's parents, his Kryptonian parents. Um, the thing with Clark Kent and his disguise. I mean, that's something they revealed, I think, a couple weeks ago as well. Um, just a lot of little things like that. I think I would have liked the movie more viewing it, but I still liked it. I think James Gunn did a pretty good job handling the material, taking the characters that he selected and customizing the screenplay to make it all work. And I think it worked.
it's a big ensemble of a film. There's so many characters in here, and you're not really meant to focus on a lot of them. I mean, Lois has a lot to do in this one, which is good. She's not just a side character. She's not just a love interest. She's actually moving the plot in certain aspects of it. Mr. Terrific, same thing. I know you talked about Guy Gardner a little bit. Nathan Fillion, this is the role he was born to play.
Yes.
There's just no one else that can pull off this sort of multiple, sort of smug personality, rude, crass, all in one sort of behavior. Nathan is just gold in this role. Nobody else could have pulled it off as well as he does. He's just such a douchebag, and you don't even hate him. He's just a likable douchebag in a lot of cases. Hawkgirl, Isabella Merced, she's not given enough. She's good in what she's asked to do. She's just not asked to do enough, which is not her fault or fault of the script. They give her a little bit to do. She's good at it. Hopefully, we'll see more of that going forward. Let's see here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eddie Gathigi as Mr. Terrific was really good. I mean, some
Solid.
people might say that he kind of stole the show a little bit. He had some good one-liners, and he kind of came in there, and they James Gunn did a really good job of explaining what their powers were and what they could do. I don't think so much with Hawk Girl. I don't know what really Hawk Girl can do other than use her wings to fly, and I guess she's got super strength, and
And
she can
she's
screech like a hawk.
screeched like a hawk. I don't know if I needed that. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the Hawk people. I had a Hawkman action figure in the '80s, but I mean, he would like. I think he would like squeeze his legs and his wings would flap, and they would always fall off. But yeah, how did the wings work? Because there were some scenes I think she was wingless, and then when in action they were like huge wings.
I don't think we're meant to ask. We really don't see it transition, right? She's either
Yeah,
flying or she's walking. There's no in between.
yeah, yeah. She's having a fantastic year acting and stuff.
I'll say a couple more things in the non-spoiler area. James is really good at getting the audience to be um, on his playing field. There's some directors that can do that really well. Chris Nolan. Chris Nolan, he's going to lull you into the palm of his hand and have you right where he wants you, and you're not going to ask questions about certain things, and you're going to focus on what he wants you to focus on. James is really good at getting us to buy in to his vision very quickly. There's not a moment where he's not sort of going for a joke. Hawk Girl screeching like a hawk every time she's fighting someone, it comes off jokey. It comes off as a joke, as it's sort of a cheesy thing. But we're here enjoying it to a certain extent. It's not ruining the movie for us because that's sort of what James can do. He can do those things. Every scene, every action sequence has a little bit of humor sort of embedded into it. It's really up to you whether or not you're going to laugh at it or not, but it's there. And we're in this James Gunn DC universe where, like, yeah, things are more silly. Superman's interactions with other heroes is more silly. It's more jokes, it's more sarcasm, it's all of that stuff. And so it's very different. I feel like I started off by saying there's going to be a segment of people where this might not it might be too big of a jump for some folks to get on
Yeah, and
board.
I think it's because they're going in with expectations. Don't go with into this with expectations.
You might
On
you might be right, but it's not even about Zach's universe. It's like Burton's universe was dark, certain tones to it. Um, you know, just DC sort of has it's a little bit more, it's more big, it's more epic, it's less sort of grounded, and this is more of a grounded DC film.
well, I mean, there's gods and monsters and metahumans and like. It seems like the people of Metropolis don't even blink when some of the stuff is happening. They're like
They
used to
really don't. They're all used to it
it.
already.
They're just like, oh, and they kind of like look at it, and some people are just like drinking their coffee, staring at it. And,
They're having to be told to, like,
yeah,
run away in certain scenes.
it's almost like if that was reality, that's what would happen. I mean, it would be like so like ho hum, like okay, there's a kaiju burning down buildings. Okay, Superman's here. Okay, I guess we're good. I'll take care of it.
Last thing I'll sort of say in the non-spoiler section of this video is that James wrote this movie probably, what, 2 years ago. um
Yeah, and he famously talks about he didn't have a way in. And watching the movie, you can almost see him figuring out how to tell a Superman story in his own way. It's very
not
interesting.
not only that, but can we at least And again, this is not meant to be a political statement. This is not meant to be a preachy thing. I'm just gonna say that the fact that this movie's coming out now
Yeah.
speaks volumes. And yet, this man
Wild.
wrote this movie 2 years ago, and it is so relatable right now. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what part you think I'm talking about. There are several plots in this
Yeah.
movie, several plots in this movie that are mirror images of like some incidents, some rhetoric on social media. Again, I'm not telling you what to think about or who to think about. I'm just letting you know, like the fact that he nailed so many things, writing this probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, is wild to me. It's really coming out at a very unique time where this is going to strike not some nerves, just some chords. It's going to strike some chords with some folks, and it's not meant to get you to think a certain way. It's not meant to get you to like look at yourself in the mirror. It's just kind of going to remind you sometimes these movies aren't far off. These dramatic elements, these plot devices, we're not too far away from some of these things. These themes are not so far off from real life. And I'm not here to tell you if that's a good or a bad thing. I'm just letting you know, like, pay attention. You'll
Can I say one of the things, even though it's been there since the beginning?
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
So yeah, Superman is an illegal alien, which
Yeah,
is awesome, dude. That's so cool.
I
He's
loved
always
when
been an illegal alien.
and Zach. I was a big fan of Zach when he kind of really focused in on that. I don't think it was kind of ahead of its time, right? Who knew we were really going to get
Yeah,
even.
it's an alien invasion story, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Yeah,
so yeah, ahead of his
love that
time.
aspect.
He really dove into that, focused in on it and stuff. And this one, it does that same thing. And it hits on so many different fronts, even like social media, court of public opinion, how easy things can kind of sway. Like, don't tell me we don't kind of deal with those things today. One day you're, a good guy or you're a savior, and the next day or the next hour later, things can switch on a dime. It's wild. So yeah, this movie, uh, so relatable in so many ways, just because of different aspects and components. And I won't get
Yeah.
into too many details yet, but let's just do a quick sort of score. Usually it's 1 to 5 for us. One, well, let's say five. Five being the best we've ever seen. We'll call it Winter Soldier or Infinity War, or in some cases, the Snyder Cut. One being the worst movie we've ever seen. You could take your pick on comic movies. That's the third Fantastic Four movie, or oh my gosh, I can't think right now.
No way home.
I can't figure out which movie I'm thinking about right now. Who's the biker guy with the flaming head? Ghost
Ghost Rider.
Rider. Yeah.
Yeah, Gabriel Luna.
No, no, no. He was good. He was good in the TV show.
Nick Cage.
That one. One being the
He
worst
was
movie we've
Superman
ever
too.
seen. Either Green Lantern or Ghost Rider 2, or one of those films. That's what we're gonna do. I'll kind of just go first, get it out the way. I think this one's definitely passable. I enjoyed it. It's not gonna blow me away. It's not sort of um, rewriting the comic book formula or anything like that. I think this is another solid attempt in the James Gunn universe. or the mind of James Gunn, if you will. And it was interesting to kind of see DC in that sort of light. It's definitely a lighter tone than we've ever been really used to seeing. Even a movie like The Flash, which had so much humor throughout that film with Ezra Miller, still there's just so much. It takes itself kind of seriously and stuff. And this one, you never really get that. I'm gonna say 3.5 out of 5. Solid, I guess. First step for the DCU. The cinematic universe has begun. And Dave, let's hear from you, man.
I think I liked it more. I want to get really, really specific here. I want to give it a 3.782. Man, it's hard to rate this movie. I've only seen it once. I don't get a good grasp on the film until I see it a second time. But there's so many aspects that I liked, and that I think people are going to understand. And like I said earlier, the action sequences were very fast, very intense, very prolonged, more so than usual superhero films, which is what I liked. And we saw it in IMAX, so it was very loud. A lot of sound effects, a lot of Foley artists worked on this sucker.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. That brings the overall score to 3.6. Not too shabby. Again, we still recommend you check it out, and if you enjoy it more than us, great. And if you don't enjoy it more than us, tell us why. We want to hear from you guys. This is gonna get into a little bit of a spoilerish territory now. So, if you do not want to get spoiled at all, then do not watch the rest of this video. But the spoiler warning tag is up, and we'll just go from there. So, anything spoilerish, Dave, that you want to talk about? I'm gonna go ahead and say something that you and I discussed on the way out of the theater was one of the big plot twists should have been, I think, a little bit bigger of a should have been a bigger deal in my eyes. But I think because certain elements in the beginning of the film weren't really honed in, I think that sort of didn't help that plot twist. I'm talking about the reveal of Ultraman. I won't even say who it is just because it doesn't really matter to me. But because of we really weren't trying to focus on specific details, that Ultraman reveal really wasn't as big as I think it should have been in this movie. It really was the only major plot twist in this movie. And because of the reveal and because of the answer to the mystery, I feel like it really should have been a huge freaking deal. And instead, it was like a, yeah, that makes sense.
There was an opportunity to make Ultraman Lobo and to kick
Oh,
into the next film with Supergirl.
I would have enjoyed that. I feel like that makes sense. How do you get Lex Luthor to, put a guy like Lobo on a leash? That's a tough question to
Like a
answer.
like a collar, like a restraining collar or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So that would have been a tough question to answer, but I would have probably enjoyed that a little bit more. I think I think once you kind of, I mean, I feel like it's kind of predictable what that reveal was going to be. Yeah, but it's okay. Like I mentioned, I it was a good reveal. I don't know if we're supposed to care though anymore about that individual, and I feel like that's kind of a weird thing to throw away based
Yeah,
on.
I mean, it looked like that person was like just erased from time, so to speak. Um, yeah, I totally do agree with you. I thought it was going to be a bigger reveal. It was very stereotypical to show the person they showed. Um, but yeah, that's Yeah, it does strike me a little odd in hindsight. Um, I just wonder when James Gunn showed people if he has people that tell him, "Hey, look, this doesn't work, that works," and they're really kind of upfront with him. Me and Carl had a conversation afterwards about, well, he's now the head of DC, so he doesn't answer to anyone. Everyone answers to him, so he has final cut, final edit, final approval on everything. There were a couple moments where it's like, that's odd that they left that in. It felt like kind of like a throwaway scene, like the garage door opening.
Oh,
It was like, what is this?
that's just like I mentioned earlier. It's just every scene he's gonna put a joke in it. That's just what he does.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to say that I thought about this way beforehand, but then I really thought about it when I was watching the film, and then after the film, this felt like he made like DC's version of Guardians of the Galaxy in a way,
Yeah,
and he had kind of the same tone, but he was less checked on this, of course, because he didn't run Marvel, but he runs DC.
right.
So any jokes or anything that he wanted in there, he got in there. He didn't have to answer to no one. Um, but yeah, it really was skinned in a Guardians of the Galaxy type of tone, which isn't bad, but um, you could really tell that, like you're saying, there was jokes um, flying at you faster than usual, jokes in the background when they were fighting that interdimensional being. Guy Gardner, it was like using like a he was conjuring weird things to fight that being, like a huge baseball bat, and he's just like smacking it, which was funny. But there was a serious moment going on simultaneously between, and I think everyone's seen the picture. It was one of the first pictures they dropped
It
between
was like the
Lois.
first poster, yeah, or the
Yeah,
first.
everyone's like, "What's happening in the background? What is that?" And it was the interdimensional being, and it was kind of cool, of a cool scene, like a special effect. And then you had the Justice Gang in the back fighting it, and they addressed it and like, yeah, they got it under control. And then they started having a serious scene, but everyone kept on laughing because Guy Gardner was conjuring up weird stuff to fight the creature, which is hysterical. But like you
And
said,
then the hog girl screeching.
yeah,
He's conjuring bats and stuff. Yeah, it was again made for laughs, and it's effective. Those that was one of the more effective sort of jokes in the movie. I do like. I think a good Superman movie also heavily relies on the complexity of Lex Luthor's plan, and this is a solid one. It really is. I think Superman Returns usually gets a lot of flack because
it's all
Luthor's
about real estate.
kryptonite infused real estate, baby. Yeah, people are, that really takes a lot of the air out of it. Just having to go along with that plot. This one's solid. I think there's a lot of moving pieces to it, and it really works. And the payoff toward the end also makes it work. How sort of Superman saves the day, but also Lois, and with Jimmy's help, Jimmy was also asked helping to move the plot along multiple times in this movie. They really became valuable assets, not just side characters who needed to be saved every 5 seconds. So, speaking of saving, Superman does a lot of saving, which is always good in a movie. You
Yeah,
really need to see that in a Superman film.
it's a core tenet of Superman, yes,
It
and not
sounds like
just
it's a
humans.
no-brainer, but you need it.
Yeah, creatures as well. So it was cool. But you know who James Gunn ripped off?
Let me think, because I there was a few moments where I was like, I've seen this before. Um, Go ahead.
So James Gunn, he ripped off James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 when he had all of his workers working the like the arcade. It was like that scene.
Mm,
when he had all the workers doing like the battleship stuff, you know,
I got you. I got you.
and Lex was like, I don't know who was the person, the gold person in Guardians 2, going from operator to operator. It really felt like that, and I was like, wow, he kind of really ripped himself off a little bit there. That's what it felt like to me.
I was surprised that his employees were so easy to go along with
Yeah, they were so
clear
like
like
amoral.
human rights violations and
Right,
breaking
right.
the law. It's like, wow, that benefits package must be great for you guys to just blindly go along with everything
Yeah,
he's doing here.
yeah. I mean, that just goes to show you if you're a charismatic speaker, you can convince anyone of anything, and I think that's kind of what he is. And I mean, he was ruthless too, and they showed that. Nicholas Hoult portrayed that perfectly. I think this is one of the best villains that DC has given us in recent times.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that for sure. Holt's great in this role. I think he's not given enough in the script, yet he's doing so much with it. Like, he's really elevating, every line that he's given. It's multiple emotions during everything he says or does. Um, he's always sort of holding his anger back throughout the film, and then towards the end, like, he really just lets it all go and lets it all loose.
Yeah,
And so,
and he
yeah,
has good ideas too.
he's solid.
Yeah, he revealed that the line where he's sipping the cup and says "ugly dog with a cape" that was his improv, and
Oh,
James Gunn left it in. Yeah,
wow.
so that's I think that's a big plus on James Gunn that he's collaborative with his actors. And then
Okay,
the big
okay.
thing with the trunks too, no trunks or trunks. Um, they didn't give Henry Cavill trunks for Man of Steel, the Zack Snyder Superman, and James Gunn was like, I was trying to find a reason. And to me, it's like it's Superman. He has trunks. You don't have to have a reason. But Corin Sweat said, well, maybe he's just trying to look goofy and look a little bit more approachable for kids. And we saw a scene where like kids were like, "Yay, Superman!" and because
Yeah.
he's so overpowered and he's just this powerful alien, illegal alien, like we talked about. But I mean, you don't have to go that far, and they didn't even address it. So it's like, I mean,
They
it's
didn't
Superman.
they don't address it, it's never a thing, and
Mm-hmm.
let's be honest, like, most of the time, it's just his torso up whenever he's
Mm-hmm.
talking to Guy Gardner or Lois or whoever, so, like, yeah, we're not even really focusing on the trunks very much. I will say there is a scene in this movie in the very middle that I was really surprised Gunn left in because, Luther
With a revolver.
directly yeah,
Yeah, I was kind of shocked that we saw that.
directly unalives someone,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost I don't know if I should say it's almost unnecessary because of the sort of the no-win situation that Superman's already in.
Yeah, I
He's
agree.
being
Yeah, there's no coming
interrogated.
back from that. Yeah.
He's being interrogated, and yet he has nothing to provide. It's almost like Luther doesn't even want to interrogate him. He just needs him to be in captivity or dead.
Well, I mean, if you look at it from the villain standpoint, he's showing Superman that he'll kill. You know, he'll kill anyone.
I'm not, and you know what? The reason why I think it's almost unnecessary is because the audience is already fully aware. He's releasing kaiju in the middle of Metropolis, and that's not, and breaking open wormholes, and he's pretty much the reason for like all the conflict around the globe. We are already in understanding standing that he's willing to do whatever it takes it's sort of really just like for shock and awe that he's willing to go that personal and that dark uh, with the Man of Steel. It was that's jarring as well in and of itself. Just that one scene, um, especially because like we're already in sort of this sort of make believe playland. We're joking with every hero around us. Um, and you see that they try to minimize how dark it was by really being zoomed out for that gunshot.
Yeah, it's that fine line that he has to tap dance on, because it's like if he doesn't kill him, then it's like, okay, well, maybe he doesn't kill, but I mean, it's almost like you kind of have to make the argument that he did kind of have to show something like that to make Luther that much more dangerous and raise the stakes,
This,
because of course none of these main characters, he's not gonna kill Lois in the first movie, you know. It's
but
like,
but he already had a main character also in as a captive, and he was borderline torturing him. Four legs,
you're talking
fluffy
about
tail.
Metamorpho. Oh yeah, that was brutal too. I was like,
That's enough for
wow,
me. I was like, oh my god, this poor,
well, yeah,
this poor.
yeah, especially for Americans that were a dog loving society. It was brutal. You could hear people gasp in the audience for what we saw Crypto go through, and the kind of like psychological aspect of it as well. Um, yeah, it was. But I mean, he James Gunn is just kind of leaping off of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That was a big creature film, and you felt for those creatures, and um, you can't go more with the sensitivity than with Man's Best Friend, and
Mm.
the way that Crypto was depicted, and you could hear people laughing in the audience when they were relating their dog or their experiences to Crypto. And it's like, oh man, James Gunn has him in the palm of his hand right now, man. And yeah, I mean, if he didn't have Crypto in this film, it would be, I don't want to say less of a film, but there would be an aspect of this film that I think makes this film a whole lot more wholesome and hopeful and relatable, really. And Crypto's really not a dog. He looks like a dog, but he's also an alien too. So,
He absolutely is, and we find out whose alien dog he is
right.
towards the end of the movie, which was a cool little reveal. Also very unexpected. Makes me wonder exactly what we're in for. We are really if this movie is like the beginning of everything we're gonna get, it's gonna be just the MCU 2.0, which might not be a bad thing, but it's just gonna be real evident whenever the next film drops and we're getting something similar.
Yeah, really now I can't wait to see the relationship between Batman and Damian Wayne. It feels like that's just going to be hysterical
Yeah.
at this point, yeah. But yeah, I'm hyped for Supergirl. I like Millie Alcock. I think she was great in House of the Dragon. It was terrific. Um, and yeah, it's revealed that yeah, Crypto is her dog, and she was off world partying on planets that have red suns, which is a wild statement.
It is
And
wild.
and yeah, I mean, James Gunn's universe is flooded with all kinds of different characters. I think we're so used to these films, these superhero films, not so much anymore, but just having like a one or two, like metahumans or mutants or superheroes. But I mean, this Superman film is filled with them. I mean, different characters, different. origins, different abilities, and it's like opening your toy box. You know, it's James Gunn got to play with whatever he wanted to because he's the end all be all at DC now.
Yeah. Well, that is a lot to be said about this movie. Again, I think we both strongly recommend you guys check it out. It's the beginning of the DC universe under James Gunn. There's a lot of great cameos in here. There was one towards the beginning that was hilarious. So check it out. And there's not a lot of Easter eggs, I'll say, but if you keep your eyes peeled, there are a few things in there to kind of just take a look on. I know I saw a Big Belly Burger, which is my box right here, my Big Belly Burger box. That was shown a few times in the movie. A
Yeah,
few
all the signage
recognizable, yeah,
is an Easter egg. I mean, all the
everything.
shops, all the street names are after comic books artists
Yep,
or creators, storytellers from a long, rich history of DC and Action Comics.
there's
And
no
of
way to
course,
fit.
Christopher Reeve's son. I mean, that wasn't a spoiler. He's in the movie.
I think I missed him.
He was a reporter.
Oh, okay, okay. There you go.
Yeah, and he's
There,
actually a an anchor on I think
I want
the A
everybody
show.
to pay attention, but I think it's impossible because I was watching it like a hawk, no pun intended. So in the layer of the Justice Gang, there is a portrait of Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, and Mr. Terrific in this like huge portrait with like gold uh border
Trim.
or gold trim. And then there's a fourth person in the portrait. And for the life of me, I could not figure out who it was. It looked like somebody in a cardigan sweater. And I'm trying to figure out like who the hell is this fourth person that's
Maybe
in this
Booster Gold.
picture? Maybe.
I didn't see it. I know Sabrina brought it up, and I was like, God, I missed it.
It was so when they're in their lair towards the second half
Yeah,
of
I
the
was freaked out about where they were. I was like, oh my God, I didn't think we were gonna get this.
yeah, also, yeah, that was a cool thing. But yeah, when Lois goes to ask for their help, there's this huge portrait sticking out of a box,
Uh,
and it's a full size picture. The four of them, but you can't tell who the fourth person is. I if you would have told me that was if you would have told me that was Stan Lee, I would have believed you because I could not figure out who it was.
it's not a Blue Beetle Jason Sudeikis situation.
You know what? I would not. I would welcome that. It would be awesome to see.
Yeah, we should
Um,
be seeing Blue Beetle here coming up pretty soon in something.
I'm game. I'm ready. He's actually filming something right now that's supposed to be kind of big. We're talking about Sholo Maridueña. He's filming outside of the U.S. He's gone for 3 months. He told his friends on his podcast that he feels like he's being typecasted, whatever that means. And even I'll say one of his, somebody who is close to him told me he's going to be out of the country for 3 months filming. And so like everything leads to some sort of franchise, some sort of like kind of bigger deal than just next random rom-com or something for him. So we'll see. If it's nothing, then it's nothing, but I feel like it's actually going to be something. Okay, so real quick, that was our talk about Superman. We'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. So be sure to drop your comments in there about either what we talked about or what you guys picked up on or just how you felt about it. Drop those thoughts in the comments. But real quick, there's just something that we've kind of hinted at before, and I just want to make sure that everybody's completely clear on it, and it's no big deal, but Countdown to the Geeks are returning to We are headed back to heaven on earth, the center of the
That's your
geek
second home,
universe,
right? San Diego?
my second home. The San Diego Comic Con is just a few weeks away now. We will be back in attendance, doing our very damnedest to get you the absolute best coverage from the center of the geek universe. We'll be having giveaways afterwards. We'll be having some interviews. We will be posting clips from the biggest panels that we could possibly be at because all of the big studios are bailing out. So we'll get the absolute biggest clips of the panels that we possibly can. But yeah, it's going to be sort of a very different sort of San Diego Comic Con, and that's okay because you and I, we could probably take a breather after last year. We're still recovering from last year, so we'll see how sort of a lesser, lighter toned, more subdued Comic Con will go. What are you most excited about? Anything yet?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see. I know there's an article that was put out that all the major studios aren't going to Hall H, but I don't think you can really say that because I know Predator Badlands is going to be there with the panel, and we'll see Dan Trachtenberg, the director. We'll probably see Elle Fanning. We'll probably see a live action Predator on stage. I mean, that's practical effects. Might get to see that. Might get a nice little clip, or maybe like 15 minutes of the film, um, because it comes out in November, right?
Sounds
That
right.
comes out in November, and then Alien Earth comes out like a week after San Diego, a few weeks after San Diego, I think. Um, I think it's actually right after my birthday. So, yeah, I mean, we might get to see Noah Hawley there and get some footage. I think that'd be great. So, yeah, those are the two big things I'm kind of looking forward to. Um, Steven Spielberg just wrapped a UFO film that nobody knows anything about, and there's big stars in it. So, it would be cool if he made a return to Hall H with that.
Cloverfield 2 confirmed.
And I believe that's under Amblin. So, yeah, um, there's openings there for people to swoop in and kind of make a splash. So this will be my second Comic Con and my first one where it's going to be like a dormant year for DC and Marvel. So um, I want to see who steps up, really.
Yeah, it's anybody's game, right? Although I keep saying I think we're gonna have some sort of lighter Marvel presentation for Fantastic Four. You know, I could be wrong. I'll be happy. It won't bother me if I'm wrong. But a Comic Con without Marvel just seems like an improbability. They have to do something on that Hall H stage. I've never I've never been there and they've not done anything. And I've gone to San Diego Comic Con events in past years where Marvel was not expected to show up, and yet, you know, they'll announce their Hall H panel presentation or whatever a few weeks before it actually started. So I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but it will just be one of the most unique San Diego Comic Con events if Marvel does not have a Saturday Hall H panel because that's just what we're used to. We're used to having them on Saturday. But if it makes it easier on us, I'll also welcome that. Give us more opportunity to see more activations, some more off-site things, get into some more parties because we don't have time for parties with all the stuff that we're doing. So yeah, I will welcome a
I remember
change
we
of.
tried to go to a party, but we ended up at another party, and then I was like, Ted, let's go over here because that'd be beneficial. And then we made memories and got stories for the rest of our lives from that, from doing that one little side move there.
Yeah, man. Center of the Geek Universe. I say it every time. It's a magical place, the happiest place on earth. and it's so unexpected. Just the people you run into, the stars you run into, the giveaways you'll get, just everything is just so amazing. We got attacked by facehuggers last year. Maybe this time we'll be sitting in that Hall H auditorium, and we'll just get those three dotted laser sniper lights like all over us in the crowd from a predator that's hunting us from the rafters or something. That would be pretty awesome. I will be terrified if those three lasers um like start shining on my forehead or something while we're sitting there.
That would be a cool idea because the Alien Earth activation at South by Southwest, they gave us little black light pens, and I mean, why not just give us like a shoulder-mounted cannon with laser sights?
Please, come on,
That'd be super cool, man.
come on,
Um,
Fox.
I mean, the face huggers that they gave us, that was very unexpected. They had a lot of them. They were crawling everywhere. Um,
We gave
I
one
love.
away.
Yeah, we gave one away on Camp Density Geeks. Yeah, man. I mean, there's so many things that happened to us last year, and so many experiences, and talked to so many directors, and I fived and fist bumped so many super famous people, and interviews went great. So many different memories, and yeah. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But I mean, I think there's going to be a couple of moments that we're going to experience that weren't expected, and we'll get to share with everybody. So, and of course,
Yeah,
Colin's going with us, and
we are
he
taking Colin
has
to his first SDCC.
he's super hyped, and he bought the David Cornsweat Superman suit that he's going to be wearing around. So you might see us with Superman. So you see him walking around. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be his cameraman and be taking pictures of him. And
He's just gonna have a ball standing outside the convention center, just taking 1,000 photos with attendees. That'll just be his highlight for like one whole day.
yeah, it's going to be wild. I
Yeah,
can't wait. Yeah, I mean that's the mecca of Comic Con. So I'm excited just to see that, just to kind of see his face and his reaction to everything.
we're a few weeks away. We're taking Colin with us this time around. We have a handful of friends that are all going to San Diego, so we'll see what happens about that. And we already have some plans in the works, and yeah, we'll see what happens. The thing is, you make a plan, but you leave room for improvisation because you don't want to just be tied down to what you think is the best thing. You really need to just sometimes go wherever the wind takes you, and more often than not, it's somewhere pretty spectacular. So, yeah, more to come from the center of the universe, the geek universe, San Diego Comic Con 2025 with me, Super Dave, and Super Colin, who's going to be dressed up as the Man of Steel, Clark Kent, Kal-El, Superman in a few weeks. That'll do it from us. We have more to talk about coming up, more
I think there's one
movies.
more thing, Ted.
Oof, what did you got? What do you got?
I don't even think you know about this,
Oh
and it might
no.
not be a thing, but heading up to Austin to go see Superman, I heard somebody say that, and you're a big fan of this person, your son's a big fan of this person. Grant Gustin was asked point blank from a fan at a Comic Con or Fan Fest or something. If James Gunn casted you into the DCU, who would you want to play? And without hesitation, he said, The Flash. I want to play The Flash. Now, all these people are running stories that Grant Gustin wants to play The Flash in the DCU. Could it be a
We
thing?
can ask him when we see him in October. It's a great segue into if you haven't been paying attention to us, one of the best absolute events is coming up. this October again. SpaceCon San Antonio 2025 is right around the corner, and you're not going to want to miss this. You're going to have stars from the MCU, stars from Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, the cast of Starship Troopers is going to be in attendance. And if you're already wondering which MCU characters I'm talking about, well, I'm talking about Kristen Ritter, Brie Larson, Elizabeth Olsen, Haley Steinfeld, and many, many more. Giancarlo Esposito is returning. You already mentioned Grant Gustin. The CW's a Flash. He's going to be in attendance, which my son, that's his favorite superhero of all time. So he's going to be stalking him nonstop all weekend. And it's going to be a blast. We will be on the expo floor with our booth again. And we have some really cool surprises. We're working on at least one. I'll just say, I'll just, I'll aim low, okay? We're working on one special guest um, for the event. You will never guess who it is. Very famous person. Mostly 80s and 90s people know who this individual is, and you'll never guess who it is. So everything works out. We'll have a very unique special guest at our booth during SpaceCon San Antonio this October. Just for more information, go visit www.spaceconsa.com and do not miss this event. You will be disappointed if you do not attend. It's always a blast. The panels are great. All the celebrities are fantastic. You get so much for your money. It's inexpensive to eat there. um, Great vendors. There's a free arcade where you can spend your time waiting for your next photo op and stuff like that. It's going to be a great time. Don't miss it. We're going to be there. We've had a blast every single time. The promoters are incredible people. They just do so well with it. They really think about the customers first and the event experience. So don't miss it at all. It's Thomas J. Henry, SpaceCon San Antonio, October 24th through the 26th here in San Antonio. All right. That'll do it for us, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Again, if you didn't attend the Superman advanced screening with us this time, be sure to follow us. You can find out when the next movie drops so you don't miss it. For the Countdown City Geeks, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this Superman review is the one and the only Super Dave.
Take it easy, guys.
Have a good night. Peace.